If you're a homeowner or you have aging parents, you've probably heard some horror stories about probate delays, the cost, the legal headaches. The good news is there are ways to avoid probate, so stick around if you want to learn more about how you can avoid probate. Thanks so much for sticking around, friends. My name's Nicole Smith. In case you don't know me, I am a local realtor here in Metro Jacksonville, Florida. And today's video, I want to go over some of the ins and outs of probate, how you could avoid it, and then possibly if you already in, to give you a few tips. So let's get started. What is probate? Probate is legal process of transferring assets after death. So if you or someone you know owns a property, and even if you have a will, but you don't have some of these other tips set up, you're going to go through probate. Bottom line, I want you to avoid probate. And some of the best ways and easiest ways, we're going to go over it right through this video. Probate is so expensive. It can start out at around $5,000 or go on up. So a lot of people, they're in distress right after someone dies and they don't know how to deal with this. And I actually am probate-certified realtor, so I can help you go through this process and lean on me. But sometimes, like I said, it could take 2 years. So why would you want to avoid probate? Well, 1, it's very time consuming. 2, it's expensive. There's court fees and legal costs. 3, it's so stressful on the family, the surviving members. And God forbid there's someone in the family that wasn't in close connection, but then all of a sudden they rear up their head. Well, guess what? The attorneys have to go and reach every single person. And that's what takes a long time. Then someone will probably start wanting to fight, carry on, and act silly. So it also will delay the sale of the property and the transfer of the real estate. So here are some proactive steps. And I am not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. I don't proclaim to be one. And a lot of these terms I may use may be specific for Florida, but make sure you do a little more research in the state that you're living in. So in Florida, we have what they call a transfer on death deed. They also call it the Lady Bird. And I believe it was named after a president, Lady Bird. So what this Lady Bird deed does, it keeps ownership with you while that person is alive. So say, for example, your loved one is in a bad position, they're in the hospital, they've been given so many months to live. You could do what they call a Lady Bird deed. And if let's just say it's a mom and her husband has passed on and she wants to give it to her children, then she can put down their names on the Lady Bird deed. And as soon as she passes on, those people have the legal rights to be the owners of that home. So this will avoid probate entirely. So this is a situation when you happen to know that you're done. But do we know the day? Do we know the hour? Do we always know the time? No. So preparation is the key if you own property. And you might be saying, well, my house isn't worth this and I have a will. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter. Probate is inevitable. If you have a will, it's still inevitable. The only real way you can avoid probate, if you're not going to do the Lady Bird, is to set up a revocable living trust. Now, yes, this is something that you may have to hire an attorney to do. There are possible ways you could find out how to do it online. But like I said, you want it done and you want it done right. It's better to invest the money up front in getting yourself an attorney. Now, if you are local, I do have one I really, really like. And if you want to know more information, give me a comment below and I will send you the information to lawyers in this area that I to help you with your revocable living trust. What you'll have to do with this trust is place your home and all your assets into the trust. This will give you a very smooth transfer of property, and you will avoid probate. You'll avoid all these extra taxes and fees and time. And while you're alive, you can go in and add new items if you buy them, change items if things change in your life. For example, you get remarried and you have new family or your grandchildren. All these things could change and you can go back in and modify and modify and modify. So it's a beautiful thing. And oftentimes the transfer of wealth in this country in the top, say 5 to 10%, they avoid taxes because they have a revocable living trust. So if you want to avoid taxes and be like some of the other people that are so smart that they have done this step, you have to get a revocable living trust. And you may not think you have enough assets, but it doesn't matter the amount. You need to get this. It doesn't matter the amount, you need to get this. This will give your family such peace. And what a beautiful gift that if you truly want to pass on an inheritance to your family, to do a revocable living trust. That is the best option. There's also the option of joint ownership with right of survivorship. So this could be a case when you change your title, you may be married, so your surviving spouse will automatically get this. Or if you are a joint owner with someone, and it may not be, a spouse, it could be a child, it could be a sister, everybody is different on how they purchase homes. But if you're joint ownership with right of survivorship, this is another way to avoid probate. But if this already happens and now you are the survivor benefactor, you want to get a living. So another one is called name payable on death, beneficiaries for your bank accounts. So this is where you would go into your bank account and set up who's the benefactor of that bank account. And that way that money is not locked up in. So you may have investments, you may have certain life insurance policies, and you may have bank accounts. You want to get all your affairs in order while you're healthy, while you have a sound mind, while you can make the decisions and the choices of where and whom gets your inheritance. Now, you must make sure you have your designations updated. So, for example, if you were married and your spouse passes away, any kind of major life change, you want to update all of those. And I highly, highly recommend working with an estate attorney and make sure that all your documents are very specific to this you are living in. And of course, I live in Florida, so you would have to look at that for Florida if you do live here. Now, I want to give you a few tips if you're already in probate. You can always reach out to me because I help families who've been in probate, and I can do everything I can to assist you and keep you in the loop and get you on track, the right thing when it comes to the property that you inherited. We can come up with a strategy, and I can make sure that your home is priced properly, that you understand the role. If you're the PA, the PR, the personal representative, I can help you with your probate attorney if you have one, and I can also help get your home prepared if we want to consider staging it, getting it maintained, getting it cleaned out. I do have quite a few vendors I can put you in touch with to help you with all of these items, because sometimes the home is not in great shape. Sometimes the family wants to sell it as is. Sometimes I'll advise you, put a little work into it, and then you'll get way more money for the home. If you're already in the probate process and you haven't hired an attorney, or if you haven't hired a realtor, reach out to me today. Let's just have a conversation and see where I can add value to your journey. And if you are not in probate and you want to avoid it and you need an attorney, let me know and I'd be happy to pass on that information. My name's Nicole Smith. I'm a realtor here in Metro Jacksonville, Florida, and I have toured so many local communities. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, whether you're thinking about upsizing because now your family's expanding and you need a little more space, whether you are actually a downsizer, which means your kids have grown up and you don't need as much home anymore, or you're PCSing, maybe you're in the military and you just got your orders and you're coming to Mayport or NAS Jax, I would love to be your agent. So make sure you send me a message, send me an email, or link with me on my calendar, and let's just have a discovery call and see how I can make your real estate journey more pleasant. Thank you so much for watching, friends. And until next time, remember, life is too short not to love where you're living. And I am living the dream here in Metro Jacksonville, Florida, and I would love for you to be my neighbor. Bye for now.